you ever had one of those days, you know, you wake up and you don't feel so cool? I mean, things don't seem to work. Your confidence disappears like it's gone into witness protection. Even though you got a new outfit, you feel fat, even though you're not fat because you thought you were fat when you were 20 and now you're not. Here's the deal. Everybody has these. And I got into a rant the other day and I'm not sure what triggered it. And I think after I talked to a couple of really good trusted friends, that we all have them. I don't care how successful, how many titles you have, how much money you're making. Every woman, I'm going to limit this to women, I'm sure it happens to men, have that same issue. And that is, are we enough? Yeah, are we deficient? Now think about the first time you started dating, maybe. And you know, you just thought he was the coolest thing. And you know, somebody walks by or he talks about an ex and you start losing your confidence. You start questioning your own value. Maybe you run into his ex, or you both together and you run into his ex and she's gorgeous. Oh, we hate those women. Or somebody you used to date, you see, and it's the day, of course, that nothing worked at your house. You were late. You don't look your greatest. You've got some old sweats on. Happens to all of us. But one of the things that we know is that we suffer this thing called imposter syndrome. And women especially tend to look at themselves as what they should be. And if you don't think so, every time I've noticed, and maybe you have too, especially with all of my clients, I'll give them a compliment and they will go, oh yeah, but they deflect the compliment as if it was just sheer luck that they were smart or savvy or looked great or their hair looked wonderful. I mean, they will deflect it instead of letting it come in. And so one of the things that I was talking about when I was doing this rant was why? What's it really about? Is it the imposter syndrome where we think we're always supposed to be fabulous and wonderful and thin and worked out and meditated and have a clean junk drawer? Is that it? Or pleasing they, whoever they are. And everybody's going to have an opinion about what looks good, right? Whether those jeans look good on you or if your butt looks big, everybody's going to have those. And then I don't know that we give them that we give away our power to them. The other thing was imperfections. I am quite sure that everybody would know X about you or me. You don't like the way your hair is. You've got this cowlick. You've had this secret zit forever. I mean, whatever it is. And why is it that we don't have self-acceptance? I mean, nobody's going to be perfect. And I'm not saying there is an eternal vigilance with looking good, because trust me, this takes a lot of work. But so are you ready to hear this? I mean, I wrote this post, which is going to be available at Women's Wisdom Network. We lose our way for a few moments when we're challenged. And usually it's when we're vulnerable. And the queen of all great information about vulnerability is Brene Brown. In that moment, in that one moment where he said, oh yeah, I saw this ex and she looked terrific and you know, she's making, you know, 7 figures or whatever. We give our power away. It just like in a second, it disappears. We trade the comfort of the approval of someone else for the approval of ourselves. Now, listen, we've all been in love. We've all been in situations where we want to look and feel and do our best. And every once in a while, maybe we fell short on a social level. Maybe there was a faux pas. We allow that imposter to talk to us. That one who says, who do you think you are? She's bigger, brighter, smarter, richer, whatever. That comparative thing is really tough. And here's a real bugger. The women that seem to have it all together, by the way, do not. And I got real proof on this one, a woman that I really love and admire. And I mean, she is a #1, and I'll say the word badass because I think she is. And I just wanted to read from this. I sent her a note on a thank you, and she said, I really needed this. I was having a moment. Now you have to say to self. So she's amazing. She's accredited. She's adored. She is put up on a pedestal. And if she's having a moment, why can't we? So this is your invitation to be a little kinder to yourself. I interviewed over 274 women, top CEOs, small entrepreneurs, cupcake makers, 7-figure CEOs, and they all had these issues about physicality, If they were tall, they wanted to be short. If they were short, they wanted to be taller. Oh yeah, we do. Just remember, it comes from our own misgivings about how we feel about ourselves. So here's a solution. Yeah, we hear you, wine and chocolate. That's usually what we do for a little while, and that'll work as a buffer. But at the end of the day, we've just got to find what happened in that moment of disconnection between ourselves and our value and reconnect. And how do we do that? Now, I'm going to tell you, go into a spin, even as a strong woman, when something challenges that self-value. It's a wake-up call. And I think if we take a breath, and I'm taking this from neurolinguistics, if we just take a moment to breathe and recenter, we realize that it's come into our reality for a reason. And that reason might just be buffering up ourselves and going back and taking a good calculation of what we do and how we do it. Because at the end of the day, you've got to be feeling good about you. I mean, you can't expect someone to love you or appreciate you if you don't love and appreciate yourself. Now, I've heard this a zillion times and I'm sick of it, but it's the truth. You can't love from an empty vessel. And if you are, you're into victimization. We want victor, and I'm not talking arrogance here in any way. I'm just talking about self-appreciation for what you do and where you've come from. If you really want to do this, go back into some old files and see how much work you've actually done. See how much you've accomplished, because we tend not to look back. And that's a great measure. It's not about, oh, I'm going to rest on my laurels. But if you look at how far you've come through the obstacles, through the challenges, whether they were real or not, at the end of the day, one ouch, as I like to call it, should not diminish the wholeness of you. It can make you stop. So one of the solutions after you have a little wine and chocolate is to reevaluate and say, no, wait a minute, that was somebody else's opinion. I know what really happened. I know what I really said. I know what I really meant. Communication is difficult, especially when you're studying it from conversational intelligence, emotional intelligence, oh God, neurolinguistics, body language, DISC. I mean, we could keep going on. So here, I'd like to say, and I'm going to read this to you. The one thing you've got that no one else will ever have is you. 70 trillion amazing cells that came together in a moment in time that can never be reproduced, no matter how. I mean, we can do versions, but we can't do you because we can't duplicate the time at this writing. So let that sink in for just a minute. When you think about the odds of your being in the physical, in this moment, in this time, connecting with us here at Women's Wisdom Network, it is flippin' amazing. And so you want to focus on the good stuff. And yeah, write it down. You're not going to be perfect. That's absolutely true. And that's okay. But you could feel badly about it for a minute. You can do a what if, or what if I had done it this way or said this or whatever. But it doesn't really make any difference. Things are going to happen. They will always be, there will be some misinterpretation. There might be some miscalculation. There might be some faux pas. So what? So you go into the next. The bottom line is this. You're not going to be attractive to everybody all the time. I had a great shrink, and he finally said to me one day, you know what? You are profoundly unattractive. I thought, geez, I know I wasn't the cutest one, but really profoundly? And he said, to an African witch doctor, which made sense. Because I was lamenting not being tall and blonde, which if you know me, I do that all the time. The fact is you are not going to be attractive to everybody all the time. You are not going to connect with everyone. They have their own issues for why. And usually it's fear or love. Some days you're going to feel like a winner, and some days you're not going to feel like that teeny moment happens and you're like, not so much. Maybe you catch a look in the mirror and you're like, oh my God, when am I going to fix that? Just know that you are perfectly imperfectly you. I like to say, just so you know that there's always an opportunity to strive for a better level of who you are and what you do. And you can rest assured there's always going to be that eternal vigilance towards growing and being. But at the end of the day, you're really pretty good. You need to love you, give yourself a break, find somebody who loves you unconditionally, find someone who's a good BFF that will tell you the truth gently. And you know what? Then go find some wine. I'm Terry Murphy. I hope you'll join us for more Women's Wisdom Network. We have some opportunities for you that are coming up. I finally, and I mean finally, and this has been me dragging my feet. I am so sorry. With all the people I keep helping, especially women, The Women's Wisdom Network has always been a resource, but you find out that you're saying the same things over and over again. And so I said, why not put it together in an online program on helping women do a better job of arranging their life and their business for more profitability and less stress. So it's a program called Women's Wisdom Network, Smart Women, Smarter Choices. If you just go to womenswisdomnetwork.com, that's women's plural, wisdomnetwork.com, you can just check it out. It's an 8-week online program. And the reason I'm finally doing that is because I've had so many women ask me for some help, and there's only so much time I have for coaching. We're going to be starting in a couple of weeks. It's going to be my initial launch, so I'm giving 50% off on it. It's an 8-week program. You get to connect with me one-on-one for coaching. We have regular groups that get together about every 2 weeks. You always have access to me, but there are some fundamentals and systems that will help you save time, reduce your stress, and increase your bottom line. I say the same thing. It works over and over again. There's no worries. If you just decide it's not for you because it's too basic or it's too advanced, there's a 30-day money-back return guarantee. Because it's my first and formal launch, like I said, it's going to be 50%. It's limited. I can't take everybody. So I'm going to take the first 20 people that sign up. Get yourself to womenswisdomnetwork.com. Check it out. There's a whole video on that whole thing. The whole piece for me is that it's about women helping women. And I've been able to work with some phenomenal women and people that happen to be men as well, to learn the nuances of the 30 plus years I've been in business. And if I can save you some of those faux pas, some of those left turns that should have been right turns, I'm here to help. So I hope to get to see you. Join us for another segment of Women's Wisdom Network. And go to our Facebook community page, Women's Wisdom Network Facebook community group. Lots of resources there, some really good interviews with other women, some good chats. We share a lot of good resources and downloadables. I hope to see you there.